Do you think growing up in a small town is a bad thing? Most people do, but why? Located around 30 minutes northeast of Indianapolis is my hometown, which looks like to the average person a dead spot in the middle of a cornfield full of hicks and farmers, which I will say there are many cornfields and many hicks, but Anderson, Indiana has much more to offer. I'm sure that most of you have never even heard of Anderson and might not be too anxious to visit there, but I'm here to tell you all the best things about this small town. So my family, including my 3 siblings, all lived in Michigan until 3 years before I was born. So I ended up being the only one born and raised a true Hoosier. You might think a town like Anderson is just boring, but it's really what you make of it. My experience growing up here taught me that the friends you make end up being friends forever, and that history plays a part in the meaning of any city, even Anderson. Growing up in Anderson showed me to appreciate what's important and to really take the time to appreciate even the small things. In addition to being a safe place to grow up and making lifelong friends, my hometown offers everything from places with historical value to places to have fun. Anderson also has a few colleges for those that are looking to further their education. I will be talking about a few historical spots in Anderson that are actually listed on the National Register of Historical Places, most located in the downtown historic district, including the Paramount Theater, Carnegie Library, and the Grunwald House. First and foremost, the benefit of growing up in Anderson, Indiana was the close-knit community. Unlike big cities, everyone in Anderson knows everyone, which to most people that could come off as a disadvantage, but to me, I love knowing my neighbors and having a big group of friends that I could play with and grow up with, just down the road. My neighbors became more like siblings than friends, and I am so glad I got to grow up in a smaller community of people because I made lifelong friendships that I can still count on them today. You'd be surprised at the number of historical sites Anderson actually has to offer. First, we have the Paramount Theater. John Eberton opened 12 atmospheric theaters before the Great Depression. The Paramount Theater in Anderson is one of only 2 of these theaters still remaining. The Spanish Casa-style building has a ceiling painted like the sky, with stars that actually twinkle and clouds that actually move. With statues and wrought iron gates, the building is much more than just a theater. Fun fact, all my high school proms were actually held at the Paramount Theater. Then we have the Carnegie Library. This beautiful open gallery housed the Anderson Arts Center from 1972 to 2005. Today, it houses the Anderson Art Center's permanent collection. Many events are held at this historic building every year. Lastly, we have the Grunwald House. The Grunwald House is an 1873 home, but it's more like a living museum that keeps Madison County's heritage alive. This French Second Empire style building is actually 2 houses in one, with 4 floors connected by an elegant winding staircase. Educational and social events like book clubs, gardening, cooking classes, and art shows occur in this house and the gardens all year long. There are also a few parks in Anderson that are examples of places that have both historical value and happen to be a ton of fun. First, there's Mound State Park, which has a pool and a campground, which during spooky season, haunted trails would be run by different school clubs there. But the interesting thing about this park is that it protects mounds built by the indigenous Adena culture more than 2,100 years ago. There's also nature parks like Shadyside Park and Rangeline Nature Preserve. These parks are an example of the city providing protected and well-known locations to walk, hike, and admire beautiful trails. My small town also has a few colleges. Anderson University, also known as AU, is a private Christian liberal arts institution established in 1917. AU is one of the nation's top colleges for computer science, cybersecurity, nursing, and business. There's also Ivy Tech Community College and Purdue Polytechnic for those that are looking for a fast-paced college degree. So in conclusion, my hometown cares about protecting and preserving its historical landmarks and homes. Anderson is a safe and hospitable place to raise a family. So I hope that I have convinced you that the small town of Anderson has a lot more to offer than just corn and pigs.